This is a mole. This is a mole rat. This is a mole who will rat you out for not saving your game. And this is a guacamole. But he's a magnet, and I'm gonna show you how I made him. I started by making an avocado shape and created the pit with my ball tool. I actually didn't intend his shape to look like an avocado, it just kind of ended up that way. Next, I blended on his little snoot. Look at how satisfying this clay blends, I love it. Totally makes it worth using, even though it looks like human flesh. And for those of you wondering, this is Super Sculpey in the color beige. I've tried a lot of different brands of polymer clay, including Super Sculpey in gray, but nothing beats this texture. Although you have to be careful because sometimes you get a bad batch of clay, which is what happened to me recently. It was too hard, so I just put it in my food processor with some drops of clay softener, and it worked great. Don't worry, I only use this food processor for clay. And for punishment. Anyways, the last step before painting is putting on the feet. And now that we're on to painting, I have another topic I'd like to discuss. And yes, it does have to do with moles. Does anyone remember that old not Disney movie that feels like a Disney movie, Thumbelina? It's one of those childhood movies that feels like a fever dream. Oh my gosh, the other nostalgic fever dream movies I had were The Pebble and the Penguin, All Dogs Go to Heaven, and We're Back, which is a movie about dinosaurs that was kind of terrifying. Let me know your nostalgic fever dream movies or TV shows in the comments. Fun fact, everything except We're Back were Don Bluth movies. Not sure if that says something about him. Actually, we'll circle back to something later that will say something about him, but first I wanted to tell you about the next part of the guacamole I'm making, which are the chips. I started by mixing some pale yellow clay and added some black craft sand to it so it would look like I actually don't know what the black speckles in the chips are. Pepper, maybe? Actually, off camera, I did add a little pepper to the clay mixture. Next, I used a ball tool to make the chips a little bumpy and then textured it with a stiff bristle brush. I wanted to add some tomatoes to the guacamole, so I pre-baked a slab of red clay and then chopped it up. To make the onions, I put a thin purple sheet of clay over a white one and chopped it just like the tomatoes. I actually don't like onions, but I aim to appease the masses. For the actual guacamole, I chopped up some light green clay and then dark green clay and then chopped them together. Next, I took my Sculpey Bacon Bond, which my husband lovingly refers to as Bacon Bond, and mixed it with my guacamole mixture. I actually had to pop this little guy's arms off to get the chip in, but he'll get newer ones later. Next, I smooshed in his guts and added the tomatoes and onions. Okay, the rest of this is pretty self-explanatory, so I'm gonna circle back to Thumbelina. And yes, I did use circle back in a sentence. The dream would be to do art and YouTube as a full-time career, but you guys will have to pry cheesy corporate lingo from my cold dead hands. I love them almost as much as icebreakers. Anyways, per my last ramble, I was thinking about Thumbelina and vaguely recalled Thumbelina being trafficked by a mole. This mole must be in some kind of files, if you know what I'm saying. Especially because Thumbelina was only a few days old after being birthed from a flower. Who thought this movie was okay for children? But yeah, basically I'm rambling about Thumbelina because there's a mole in it, and that vaguely has to do with what this video is about. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. All that's left to do on this little guy is add on the resin. If you want your own guacamole magnet, be sure to check out my shop. The link's down below. If you've made it this far, thanks for watching, and be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.